Hello, welcome to my kitchen. I thought I would make bread. So for this bread method, you'll need a large sort of cast iron casserole, which I will now put in the oven to preheat and turn the oven to 475 or 500 degrees, so pretty hot. So one of the things I've gotten into this pandemic is making bread. Last year I was in Horseheads for our CIA event, and the bishop was there, and we got to chatting at the reception or whatever, and he had a good one-liner, which was, "Man does not live on bread alone, but it helps," which I thought was good. Anyway, so this is about a pound of flour, so I'm going to have maybe about a third of a pound of regular all-purpose flour, a third of a pound of whole wheat flour, and a third of a pound of high-protein bread flour. You can do any mix you want, I guess, but you probably don't want it more than about 30% high-protein flour, otherwise it won't really rise well. So you got about a pound of flour, some salt, measuring like my grandmother does, so that amount of salt. And
Does it matter what size the hand is?
I actually never thought about that. Maybe it does matter what size the hand is, but anyway. And some yeast. So you don't want to put too much yeast in this method because you're going to let it sort of rise overnight. And if you put too much yeast, it will sort of over-rise, and then there won't be enough rise left in the dough. When it comes time to bake it. Okay, so a pound of flour, good palm full of salt, few hefty pinches of dried yeast, and then water until you have enough. So whenever my grandmother makes large batches of things where you use a lot of ingredients, she always starts in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And I think that's because she wants to make sure she doesn't waste the ingredients by mixing up. So some water until it comes to sort of a shaggy mass. Yeah, not that much. So just until it starts to come together. And then that's it. Then you just leave it on the counter. No kneading necessary in this method. Because I don't remember exactly what the rules are, but something to do with time and water and gluten or something. And basically, you don't need to knead it because you're letting it ferment for a long time. Okay, so put that away until tomorrow. Here's one I did earlier. So this is the same situation after 24 hours of sitting out. And what you want to do is put it out on a towel.
Also, make sure bread is
Make
away
sure
from the
make
baby.
sure it's away from a baby. Okay, fine. Let's put it over here. So, get some flour on a towel. And then tip out the, so no kneading, as I said. And then you just sort of tip it out. You can see it's pretty stretchy even without kneading, and again, it's something to do with the long rising time. And then fingertips sort of floured so it doesn't stick. It's very sticky. Sort of fold it like this, and then sort of fold it like that. Sort of left and right, and then up and down. And a little extra flour, make sure it doesn't stick. And then sort of gingerly go like that. And then go like this, go like that. And then let it rise for as long as it takes for the oven to heat up. The other thing my grandmother used to do is she used to time procedures in cooking by like numbers of prayers or whatever. So I would say that you want to let this loaf rise for 5 decades of a rosary or something like that. So I'll go say 5 decades of a rosary and then I'll put it in the oven. Okay, we're back. It's been 5 decades of a rosary, or about 25 minutes later. The oven is preheated. The dough is risen. You can tell it's risen enough because when you go like that, it sort of springs back. Okay, so the next couple steps happen quickly, so watch carefully. You take the searing hot crock open like this. You hold this in one hand, you dump it in there. You don't touch the hot thing with your bare hands. You go like that, and then you put it in the oven.
Ta-da!
So that then you want to bake it at around 475 for about 1 rosary, and then turn the oven down to about 450.
Translation into real time?
I don't know, 25 minutes, something like that. And then turn the oven down to 450, uncover it, and then say 2 more rosaries, and then you'll have a freshly baked loaf of bread.
And how much time is 2 more rosaries?
45 minutes, something like that. Okay, it's ready. So, yep. So just cool it on, maybe on the stovetop. And there you go. So in about an hour, you've said several rosaries. You've baked a loaf of bread, and you have another batch of dough ready to go for tomorrow's loaf of bread. My grandmother, whenever there was any leftover bread, first of all, she would never throw it away. She would save it for something else, like to thicken soup or to make stuffing. But if it really ever got to the point where you couldn't eat it, like it was moldy or something like that, she would kiss it, thank God for it, and then before she would throw it away. So anyway, so I like making bread because it reminds me of my grandmother, and it reminds me to be thankful for the simple things.